This is just a note for people on this side of the rapture. It is February 19th. The rapture is still a ways away, the window. I believe it's going to happen sometime between mid-April of this year and December of next year. So there's a 20-month window of when it's going to actually happen. So we just have to keep our eyes on the news, keep watching for the 7-year peace treaty to happen, to come to the mainstream media, to announce it to the world, as well as the man who's going to bring it. He'll seem like the perfect man. He'll seem like a great guy with all the answers, but in the end he'll be the Antichrist. And also watch for the temple plans too. Plan on rebuilding the temple. Right now, we're on this side of the rapture, and so talking about it, we end up sounding crazy. Myself and all the other believers out there who know it's going to happen. The Spirit has told us it's going to happen, has shown us it's going to happen in various sorts of ways. Through insights, through visions, through dreams. If you go to the online sites, YouTube and all those other places, you'll see a lot of people who've been posting dreams and prophecies about the tribulation period and the rapture and everything that's coming. And I was just thinking, if you miss the rapture, you're going to be living in a society or existing in a society that's pretty bad. If you think the world is violent and horrible now, it's going to be even worse then. And you really don't want to be a part of it. But again, there's going to be a certain number of non-believers, non-Christians, who this stuff to them is just nonsense. And because it's nonsense, there's no way they're going to listen to it. And so, once the rapture happens, they'll see that there really is a God. And that He really did want to take people away from the horrible time coming. Because the tribulation period will last about 7 years, and it's going to be extremely violent. The people in control, the ones who want to set up the one world government, they plan on depopulating the planet. They want to take the global population down to about 500 million people, 500 million. And I don't know how many people are going to be raptured. It could be anywhere from 1 billion to half the population, 3 billion. Because they're not going to be all believers that are going to be going. There's going to be a lot of good, decent people that are going too, who don't go to church, who aren't Christians, but they're just good people. Jesus calls those people the other sheep. They're people who know His voice, but they don't know His name. They're the kind of people, as the Bible says they have the law of God already written on their heart. They just automatically do things. They don't usually swear, although sometimes they do, but they feel bad about it. They usually don't go to church, and they usually don't read the Bible or anything. But they're just great people. They're just ordinary people, and you would think they were Christian, but they're not. But anyway, those are the other sheep. As for the believers that are going, I hope that if you are a believer, that you are one of them, and that you're spending some quality time with our Lord, because He's the one that's coming to get the friends of God and His friends. The rest of the churchgoers, the pew warmers, and all those other Christians that go to church for their own reasons, whatever it is, being selfish or self-centered, or they want to make a show of themselves, they're going to be left behind. As well as all the agnostics who used to be Christians, but decided that God is unreachable. As well as all the lukewarm Christians, the fence sitters. They're going to be witness to the rapture, and they're going to be living in great regret and probably a lot of tears, because they know what's going to have to be done. But if you are one of those believers, and if you're one of the new converts that will be made during that time, then I can just say that even though it's going to be a hard time, it's going to be a glorious time too for you. You're a brand of believers, a brand of children of God that are going to get a very special blessing when it's all done. You're going to get a very special blessing in heaven, but you have to make it through to the end. You have to end up giving your life. You have to become one of the martyrs, and that means you're going to have to spend at least a year in the tribulation period, and anywhere up to 3 years, 3.5 years. But you will be seeing a lot of the amazing things that are going to be happening, even though they are horrible. The signs and the seals and all the tribulation things that are going to be happening. You as believers, because you are a believer, you have the seal of God on your head. It's an invisible sort of thing. Right now in the spirit realm, the demons and the angels can tell who the believers are and who aren't, because they have a special glow that can be seen in the spirit realm. And so it will be that mark of the Lord that you have as a believer that will keep you from all the wrath of God that's going to be happening to all the inhabitants of the world who's having God's wrath being poured out on them because of their unbelief, because of their perversions, because of their hatred, their corruption, and all the things that just make them people who have to suffer God's wrath. Most of them are God haters. A lot of them are these atheists whose sites you can see on the internet, and they just spew all sorts of lies and untruths, and they misconstrue the Word of God. And a lot of them are just people who just enjoy their own perverse way of life. They just do things that they know would not please God, even though they don't believe in God. They perform acts that are just horrible, violent acts and sexual acts and all kinds of perversion. Anyhow, they're going to be having their final 7 years on the earth, and with all the signs and all the things that are going to be happening, I just get overwhelmed. But anyway, you as a believer, you don't have to worry about it. Even though you'll have to be put into a concentration camp eventually, you will be protected, and eventually you will be taken to a place where you will have to have your head chopped off. And that's the only way you can get into heaven, is by dying as a martyr. They will be asking you along the way to renounce your faith, renounce your belief. But if you stay strong to the end, the Lord will actually be with you. A lot of you will see Him, a lot of you will feel Him, but He will be there with you, holding your hands in a physical sense and in a spiritual sense as well, as you approach the blade and as you watch it come down. And just as the blade touches your neck, your soul is going to be pulled out of your body, so you won't be feeling any pain. But for the first month after the rapture, or the first, about the first year, until the number of the beast comes in, you'll be part of a great revival. There will be a lot of people around you that won't know what's going on. They'll be totally confused as to what's happening. And because of that, it'll be the Spirit of the Lord moving amongst you, the believers left behind, to start a revival, to get more people into the kingdom. Even though they'll have to be martyred, they will still go to heaven. And during that time, you will be empowered. You will have special powers, the same kind of powers that Jesus had when He walked the earth. You will lay your hands on the sick and they'll be healed. You can raise people from the dead, create food out of nothing, just like He did with the fish. Every miracle that Jesus did, you will be able to do as well. up until the time comes when you have to be taken into captivity, and you'll be boarded on trains, put into concentration camps, and however long it takes until you get to the point where you have to have your ritualistic death for the sake of the Lord. Anyway, that's just a little note. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm actually trying to encourage people to get right with the Lord so they don't have to go through the tribulation period. But if you're one of those believers that this thing is nonsense to you, well, I'm afraid you might have to go through that. So if you're one of the left behinders and you're listening to this on the other side of the rapture, after it's happened, well, then you'll know that we on this side tried to help you. And if you are a believer on this side, but you don't have a good relationship with the Lord, I suggest you get one. Spend some quality time with Him, not only in prayer, formal prayer, but also conversational prayer during your waking hours, as well as getting into the Word as much as you can. Read as much of the Bible as you can, and just focus on doing what you can in order to let people know about the Lord and the kingdom that's coming. Because the tribulation period is only going to last 7 years, and after that is Armageddon, and then after that is the 1,000 years of peace. And then nobody will have to worry about Satan or being tempted or anything else from that point on. It'll just be a glorious time in 1,000 years of peace. So anyway, that's that. I will end this off with another look at that map there, that outline of the history of God's plan. Okay, talk to you later. Okay, there's where things started off, and the flood. All those people there were perverse and violent, so they were destroyed. And now we are in the age of grace. That's when Jesus came, and we're about to get to the rapture. So we're in there by that squiggly line somewhere, and eventually the rapture is going to happen. And then you will have to go through the 7-year tribulation. But then after that comes Armageddon, and then the 1,000 years of peace when everybody's happy.